It began quietly, as unsettling stories often do, with something that at first seemed harmless. The family had always loved gathering for holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries, carefully preserving the memories in photo albums and frames scattered throughout their home. Smiling faces, candles glowing, children clutching toys, the sort of familiar images that carried warmth and history. And yet, among those captured moments of joy, something else lingered. Something no one had noticed until much later. A detail so ordinary, so perfectly hidden that it escaped them for years. But once seen, it could never be unseen again. It was a cold November afternoon when Emily, the eldest daughter, sat curled in the living room with a box of old photographs. The light outside was fading early, shadows stretching across the floor as the wind rattled the branches against the windows. She wasn't looking for anything in particular, just passing time, enjoying the nostalgia of flipping through fading images of childhood birthdays and family vacations. Her smile softened with each turn of the page, until it froze. There, in the corner of one photograph, stood a man she did not recognize. His presence was subtle at first glance. Blurred at the edge of the frame, dressed plainly, his face shadowed. Emily leaned closer, her brow furrowing. He wasn't part of the family. He wasn't a neighbor. She couldn't even recall seeing him before. Puzzled, she reached for another photo. And there he was again. This time, seated at the far end of the picnic table, body angled away, but unmistakably present. A stranger, quietly inserted into their family's most intimate memories. The deeper Emily looked, the worse it became. Each album seemed to reveal him again and again, standing behind her mother as she cut the cake, lurking at the edge of a school recital, blurred in the reflection of a mirror during Christmas morning. Always there, but never acknowledged. No one in the family ever looked at him, spoke to him, or seemed to notice his existence at all. Emily's hands began to tremble as she spread the photos across the carpet, comparing them side by side. He never aged. His clothes changed subtly, as if adapting to different decades. But his face, pale, angular, eyes fixed in an unsettling calm, remained the same. A man who belonged nowhere, and yet appeared everywhere. She called her mother into the room, her voice tight with unease. Her mother brushed it off at first, squinting at the images with mild irritation. "It's probably just a family friend you don't remember," she insisted. But Emily pressed on. She laid out the photos, pointing to the same face, the same figure, across years of memories. Her mother's smile faltered. She fell quiet, staring at the evidence spread across the floor. Her breathing slowed, and then she whispered something that chilled Emily to her core. "I've seen him before." Emily's heart pounded. Her mother didn't elaborate, didn't explain how or when, but the color drained from her face as though recalling something long buried. She left the room without another word, leaving Emily surrounded by smiling faces and one uninvited guest. From that moment, the photos no longer felt like cherished memories. They felt corrupted, as though some hidden hand had been weaving this figure into their lives without permission. The albums were shut away, yet the sense of intrusion lingered. Days later, Emily awoke in the middle of the night to a sound she couldn't place. The house was still, the silence broken only by the faint creak of the floorboards above her. She held her breath, straining to listen. Slowly, carefully, she rose and stepped into the hallway. There, hanging on the wall, was a framed photo she had walked past countless times. A family Christmas portrait. She stopped. The blood drained from her face. The stranger, who had once stood quietly at the far edge of the frame, was no longer blurred in the background. He was closer now, positioned directly behind her chair, his pale hand resting on the back as though claiming his place in the family. And his eyes? They were no longer calm, no longer distant. They were looking directly at her. The photoglass reflected her wide, terrified gaze. And for the first time, she realized the faintest trace of a smile had crept onto his lips.